All right, you're live.
All right, seeing that it's the hour of 5 p.m., we're going to call the meeting to order. The first thing is we're looking for the approval of the minutes for the August 23rd, 2021 meeting.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Moving on, first item of business, 0681-21, communications submitting an application for a Class B retail fermented malt beverage and intoxicating liquor for Antares LLC, owned by Rachel Siles, doing business as Icebox Pub, located at 2328 Douglas Avenue. Rachel Siles, agent, 5th District.
Hello?
Hello,
Hi, can you hear me?
is this Rachel?
This is Rachel.
Okay. All right, first thing I'm going to do, Nu, could you swear the applicant in, please?
Sure, I can do that. Rachel, would you please raise your right hand? Rachel, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
We are here on your application today. You will have a chance to tell the committee about your business and why you are applying for this license. After that, I will read the summary of the Good Neighbors Report, and this committee may ask some questions of you. The chair may then check to see if city staff has any information to add or if any members of the audience wishes to speak for or against the license application. Now, please go ahead and tell us about your business.
Hi, so I was a law enforcement officer for 11 years with the city of Burlington. I enjoyed my time there. I was working on patrol and then I was an investigator for the last 3 years. But I worked for a very small department and there wasn't a lot of room for growth in that department. I loved working there, loved all the people that I worked with, but I've always wanted to own my own business. So for years I was trying to find a spot. I was looking out in Burlington and other communities. And so there was a few places that never panned out. And then I found a real estate agent and he told me that the owner from Icebox was looking to retire and looking for new ownership. So I did the walkthrough and whatnot. And I met Nick, the current owner. He's pretty great. He's very helpful. And he's also said that he'd help me in the transition. I've never actually owned a bar myself before, but I worked in a restaurant for about 8 years. So I learned the basics there. And then also my mom has been working for a restaurant for 20 plus years and she's been the buyer and she knows a lot about like speaking with the wholesalers and working with them. So I do have some experience and knowledge and I do have a lot of assets that would assist me along the way. And my father, he moved down to Arizona and there's a little bar / restaurant down there. And it has this amazing outside patio and we go there every time. And the owners are actually from Wisconsin. And throughout my looking for a place, I've always wanted a large patio to look like that one because it looks like this oasis. And in Racine, we don't have that many outdoor patios for people to go and hang out. So I really wanted to, well, when I saw the Icebox Pub and I saw that amazing patio in the backyard, I thought it was like a huge blank slate for me. And I could just do so many amazing things with that, adding lights and pergolas and just make it look like a really nice, comfortable, chill place for people to hang out in Racine. I grew up in Racine. I know that the bar, it needs some updates on the outside. I can tell that the north side of Racine is starting to be like more up and coming. There's a Starbucks there and they're building like an O&H and everything. So I want to, do the outside and make it look more aesthetically pleasing and just have more private events. So people in Racine have places to go and hang out. And I just want to be part of the community and where I grew up in and have fun while I'm doing it. So I found the Icebox. I think it's a perfect spot and I'm hopefully that you guys will approve the liquor license so I can do what I've always wanted to do.
All right, thank you very much. I do got to say, all the years, I have never heard any problems with this. And I'm not going to give the year, but 1 million years ago, that used to be my place to hang out. And I just want to say, if this is granted tonight, I would contact the city because we have facade grants available. And I don't believe one was ever given at that building. So you could actually get up to $10,000 grant to do work on the outside of that facility. So is there any questions from anybody in our community? And I guess I would ask Alderwoman Caprillion first, since that's your district.
Thank you, Chairman Coe. Yes, I would have to concur with Alder Coe in regards to that location. For the last decade of me serving in the area, I have never had any complaints. And Rachel, I just want to first thank you on your years of service as a public servant. Much appreciated on that. So you understand just how important to have a good partnership with the city and the responsibilities of a good establishment, and understand what hardships they can bring in the neighborhood if they're poorly ran, and the stress to our resources and to the community in which it can cause. I want to ask you, are you familiar, I've been in touch with, there is a bid established in that area, a business improvement district. So just as the chairman Alder Coe has mentioned about different grants, the business improvement district has some grants as well that are available to you because you are right on that access corridor.
Okay, awesome. I did not know that. That's pretty cool.
Okay, I'll be happy to get you in touch and get some information to you. And I being the alder in the area, it'd probably be a good thing that we get to know each other anyways. So thank
Perfect.
you.
Any other questions from any of the committee members? If not, I would entertain a motion from Alderwoman Caprillion.
I would like to move and approve, please.
We have a
Second.
second. We have a motion and a second. Any questions on the item from anybody? Any questions from you, Rachel, at all?
No, not at this time.
All right, then we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, good luck. Now you got to get a hold of the city and get all your premises past, plumbing and stuff like that, building and stuff too. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, good luck. This goes to council next Tuesday, and I don't foresee any problems, so I'm just gonna say welcome back to Racine.
All right. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
All right. You too.
Appreciate
Take
it.
care.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Next item of business, 0691-21, communications submitting an application for a Class B retail fermented malt beverage and intoxicating liquor license for, excuse me, for GRC Sports Lounge LLC, doing business as GRC, located at 1307 Douglas Avenue. Reggie Booker, agent, 4th District. We got Reggie on.
Yes.
All right. City Attorney, could you swear the applicant in, please?
Yes, I can certainly do that. Mr. Booker, if you could raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
The committee is here on your application today. You will have a chance to tell the committee about your business and why you are applying for this license. After that, I will read the summary of the Good Neighbors report, and this committee may ask some questions of you. The chair will then check to see if city staff has any information to add, or if any members of the audience wishes to speak for or against the license application. Now, please go ahead and tell us about your business.
Well, I'm the owner of GRC. We had some issues with the bar. And so what I did was I asked Crystal to surrender the license so I can fully take complete control over the bar, to turn the bar around, for the betterment of the community and the people that's living in that area. And so what I'm coming here today to do is ask that the committee would grant me a license for that establishment, because I am the owner of that building. And if something's going to go on or go wrong with the building, I would like to be held completely responsible. And I just ask that, we can put the license, that the license be granted to me so I can basically just take over and control, complete control. of the issues, because we had a lot of issues there, and we just got to turn it around. So basically what I'm doing is, again, asking that I can be granted a license in my own name. Because this business has been up and running for almost 5 years. We haven't had a horrible amount of problems, but still problems are problems.
So I'm going to ask you, Reggie, what all the problems everybody on a committee is familiar with. What are some of the things you're going to do to mitigate this?
So first thing we got in place about 6 months ago, because I shut the bar down about 6 or 7 months now. Well, I reached out to Racine Police Department. We're going to hire, well, we got an application in to hire 2 off-duty police officers. I hired 5 new security guards. And we're going to also raise the age limit to 30 instead of a lot of young 25, 26-year-olds. And we're going to close a bar, call last call at 12 o'clock instead of 2 o'clock in the morning, because we're going to close at 1 o'clock instead of staying open again till 2:30 in the morning. And
All right, next question I have then, what about, you guys used to have a lot of big events over there that seems when the problems perked up, anything about that?
we're not having any dance hall. No, we're not doing the DJs, dance hall. We're not doing any of that. No parties. We're not having people coming in from, these surrounding cities to come here and have all that ruckus. That's why, again, that I'm going to be shutting the bar down earlier than later, because a lot of problems seem like problems were coming after, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. If the people aren't there by 11, because our bar is only going to be, it's only going to be open till like 12:30. If they're not there around that time, they only would have like an hour or so. So we don't even want those type of individuals coming to our place, creating problems.
All right. Any questions from any of the committee members before we have the city attorney read the Good Neighbors report?
I do, Alder Cole.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I had my hand raised. I don't know if you can
Oh,
see
I'm
it.
sorry, I don't see
That's,
it.
that's all right. Yeah, so Mr. Booker, first of all, thanks for coming tonight. I am, I've been here. I'm fully aware of what that bar used to be in the past. I don't have a concern. I know you want to turn it around and get things back on track. One of the questions I do have is that, with no DJ, with no dance hall, with no parties, with nothing else going on there, how are you planning kind of like to keep that going? Because that's where people usually go, where there's a place that they can come. Are you looking at a jukebox or?
Yeah, we have a jukebox, and another thing is I'm getting ready to put a kitchen inside of here, so it's going to be like a different atmosphere. It's not going to be like, okay, let's go over here and let's party. I'm installing, that's why I want to get through this part first. I'm getting ready to start install a kitchen. So I'm dealing with Walter Sheet Metal, and they're just waiting till all of this is resolved before they install the kitchen. So it's going to be a different atmosphere. It's not going to be like, let's go over here and create the same ruckus. No.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Chairman Cole, this is Alder Carillion.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Reggie, for being available for us to ask you some questions. I am wondering, you mentioned you were the owner of the building. I'm wondering, how much did you play in the decision-making process during the time that the GRC was open in the past?
Well, I was there, but I wasn't there enough, which as an owner, I should have been there, at least the nights that there were a lot of people there.
If you wouldn't mind, not so much about your presence, but I thank you for that information because it is helpful. I'm just wondering, how much of a role did you play in the decision-making process when GRC was established before it got shut down?
The manager that I had initially before I got rid of everybody, I was pretty much allowing her to put all these things together. What I wasn't being completely fully aware of everything that was going on, and that was the big problem. So now that I have someone else that's running my restaurants, it frees me up to have me available, to have me there to control the things, the decision making, the parties, and the hanging outside. And I'm going to be hands on this time instead of like last time. I was not really hands on with the decision making of the bar. I had a bar manager that was running all that.
Chairman Cole, if I could continue, please.
Continue.
All right, thank you. So what I'm hearing, which I appreciate you giving us a little bit more insight again, this is my concern, and I might need Attorney New to kind of jump in here, but you mentioned that you had a manager in place, so you made a decision to put a manager in place, and you were given authority to go ahead and make those decisions. As I understand it, your name was never on as the agent, as a liquor agent for that establishment, and
Right.
how it's defined as an agent, if you don't mind, if I can read the definition, not only for my purposes, for yours and the committee's purpose. The agent is the person in whom a company or corporation vests full authority and control of the premises and of the conduct of all business on the premises related to alcohol beverages. So with that being said, was that your position?
I was basically, I'm the owner, but I wasn't the agent as far as with the liquor license.
I understand the term, but how you described your role into hiring a manager, and I don't know if that really defines what the building owner is authority to do, to then create the business plan, hiring the managers and what goes on. So the reason why I'm pushing really hard on this, because this is my sticking point, is that whoever was in charge of that, and currently right now we had somebody else as a different liquor the agent for that location. And I went back and I looked at the calls of service to the area, and it was quite extensive. And you did reference it before that there was some problems going on, but I just wanted to remind the committee as we move forward making this decision, because right now there is stress in that neighborhood. You know, there has been things that have taken place, and we have a responsibility here as the Public Safety and Liquor License Committee to make. So I see that back in February, that the bar did not have their liquor license on display, which is a requirement. That was late February. Then on March 13th, the bartender working did not have a liquor license, and still no license on display almost a few weeks later. Still didn't put that up. Then on March 26th, there was distress to the neighborhood. There was blocking streets. They were in the neighborhoods, and it looks like there was over 200 people. The owner was not able to provide, the bartender at the time did not have a license. And it also said, whoever the bartender who said that they were working and the other people working, they also did not have a liquor license. Then there was a tavern check just a few days later, and then there was no bartender working at the time. The only person present was the DJ, and had mentioned it was a private party, but yet the bar was advertised as being open. It was not locked. And also there was somebody behind the bar who did not have a liquor license, but then claimed they were not serving alcohol. Then on April 10th, there was another tavern check, over 90 people in the establishment, which violated the restrictions that were put into place because of COVID-19. Then May 2nd, all squads were called to the area. No other squads were available for any other calls that evening, as they tried to clear the area for over an hour and a half with a lot of pushback from that crowd. There was loitering. And then on May 9th, the same thing occurred. The 9 officers were called to the area. Again, resistance to leave the area, causing distress to the neighborhoods, and that took over 45 minutes to clear. So why I'm asking this question, if it was you who was in charge hiring a manager, first of all, it goes against our state statute, not something Racine puts in place, but state statute, that you don't have the authority to do that. So you are undermining state statute. And The decisions that were being made at that time were causing distress on our resources and also to our neighborhood. So I'm sorry that I come hard at you like
No, it's
this,
okay.
but this really has to be cleared up for me to make a clear decision on this.
I understand.
You got any comments on that at all, Reggie, at all? I mean, I know-
Yes, that's why I have licensed bartenders, which I was unaware of what she was saying. I have all licensed bartenders. I have security in place. We will be closing earlier. I will be on the premises. And then, if I have to make sure that everything is running correctly and smoothly. Yes, I did allow, so much just to go so long, which I should have took control of this issue a long time ago before it led to, we got 30 police outside, you got, bartenders or whatever happened. They said that the bartender went outside or whatever. The way we're going to do it, I'm going to have bartenders there all the time, licensed bartenders that I'm hiring, security in place, and just to basically turn this thing around, because it was horrible. And that's why I want an opportunity to run the bar myself without, having someone else responsible for my job. And I just want to turn this thing around for the city and, and the safety of the people that's even in the establishment.
Reggie, I'm going to ask, is there any other businesses that you own or operate at this time?
Yes, I own Booker's Plumbing Company. I own ROB Investments. It's dealing with real estate. I own 2 restaurants, Fresh Off the Hook on Washington Avenue, Fresh Off the Hook on Douglas Avenue, and also the bar GRC.
Okay, and have you had many problems at any of these restaurants and stuff? I mean, I know there was a couple of times there was some problems there, but I'm just asking you, has there been any problems in the recent 6-8 months?
When those problems, the one on Washington Avenue, that was before I got the building. It was called Fresh Catfish and More or something. No, we haven't had any problem at any of these businesses, none. The police never been to any one of my restaurants ever.
So, do any other committee members have any questions to ask?
Can I ask if those restaurants are liquor establishments?
No, they're not.
No.
Okay, thank you for that. And with being a liquored establishment comes a little different of a responsibility. I am so appreciative that you've invested into this, into Racine and have some other businesses, but this comes with a little more weight and responsibility for sure, which I think you clearly understand. That's why you're before us this evening.
Yes, I do.
So, and I'm sorry to have jumped in, Chairman Coe. I did have a couple other questions, but I will yield to if there is others at this time.
Any other alders questions? All right, go ahead, Melissa.
I appreciate that, Chairman. So you had mentioned that you really want this opportunity to run the bar by yourself and have all the responsibilities be your responsibilities. And you indicated before it possibly was a shared responsibility or whatever may be there. It's, I guess, maybe either left for assumption or not. But because it sounds like you had some hand in the way that business was done before, I'm going to tell you that every time people come before us when they are looking to open a liquor establishment, never have they not promised us a good partnership, good business practices, never ever. So I wouldn't expect you to say, hey, I'm going to cause stress to the neighborhood or undermine authority. That just So I would assume what would come to you is definitely best business practices and looking for ways to turn it around. But the one thing that this committee often doesn't get to see is how do these people actually conduct business, a liquored business establishment? So we hear people like you, just like the applicant before you has not had it before, and we have to, in good faith, move forward with what they're saying, and we're hoping for the best, right? It's not often then that we have a liquor establishment in place that has caused us tons of distress, and all of a sudden they come back and it's like, hey, give me another shot at this. It's like, well, we did give you a shot, and now our community is wounded, but we have now this history, so we have a scar mark basically. And so this is, I don't feel comfortable. I'm going to tell you, Reggie, I appreciate that you want to invest in our community, and this isn't personal against you. This is now the business practice that was in place. I can't agree with what went on and all the record that I just read. I think there was room at that time to go ahead and make improvements for whatever was going on. It wasn't made, and that caused hardship for our community. And I just not in good faith can move forward with an approval of this, but I'm one vote on a committee. Thank you.
I understand.
And I do got to say that there is a thing in place right now because it, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was declared a nuisance property, and anything that comes up in the near future automatically triggers a due process. Am I correct?
Not exactly. So in earlier this year, the police department declared this premises to be a nuisance, a chronic nuisance premise. That means they sent out a letter to the property owner indicating that there had been at least 3 or more nuisance calls within a 90-day period, and asking the owner to come up with a plan to abate the nuisance. Perhaps Sergeant Ortiz can speak more as to what the outcome of that result was, but I believe they worked it out with the owner at that time, and the compromise at that point was to shut down the bar so that there weren't any more nuisance calls. And because they did voluntarily shut down the bar in June of this year, the police department stopped pursuing a chronic nuisance declaration at that point. So if they wanted to start it again, they certainly could do that if there are additional calls. But at this time, that, for all intents and purposes, is done. The due process is a completely different matter that's having to do with PSNL. So if we wanted to, we could, and when I say we, I mean the city attorney's office, could issue a summons and complaint against Mr. Booker or against GRC actually to either revoke or suspend the license based on violations having to do with alcohol beverages. Based on the police records, there certainly are enough violations to start a due process hearing, but because the business was shut down in June, no action was taken at that point. Certainly, if the business opens back up and there continues to be nuisance calls, we can always issue a summons complaint again at that time, or the committee could act and call them in. And as you know, 2 calls within a 6-month period or 3 within a 1-year period triggers the due process hearings. So I don't know if that answers your question, but those are 2 separate items that we're talking about.
Can I have a point of clarification?
Go ahead.
So with that being said, when before it got closed, that was under a different agent. How can that carry on if we were to approve this and have a new agent? Doesn't it kind of start fresh, if you will, or is it the establishment, the location itself? I thought it kind of starts thing kind of anew.
So the chronic nuisance premise that was declared by the Racine Police Department goes with the property. And I believe the property owner is and was Reginald Booker, or at least it's his LLC. So it would be the same owner. So if the police department wanted to, it could restart that process.
Thank you.
Reggie, what is your time frame if this is passed? What is your time frame for trying to get the restaurant up and running?
It's going to start like right away. I don't think I'm even going to open a bar until that part is done, because that's the new theme. I would say that's the new the big thing with this bar. I want to turn it into more of a, not just like a dance party. I want a kitchen. I want a different atmosphere when someone come in there. I don't want it the same way anymore. That's why I'm going to start this process immediately.
Is there any other questions? And I don't know if we have to, if there's no other questions, no, should we still have to go through the Good Neighbors report?
Well, that's up to the committee. I've submitted the report to the committee members. So if you have any specific questions, otherwise I can highlight what's in there. And then we have Sergeant Ortiz on the line too, if you wanted any clarification on the police issues specifically.
Everybody's had a chance to look at the report. Anybody got any questions for Sergeant Ortiz at all? Okay, being nothing else being said here, I would entertain a motion. Anyone?
Yeah, Alder Cole, Chairman Cole.
Okay,
And just listening to, just listening to all the concerns that GRC had, and then listening to Mr. Booker, who is telling us that he is going to make sure that this establishment changes. I think it's probably about maybe 2 or 3 places down there besides the place Booker is trying to change that might be open for dance halls and all that. But just holding him, kind of like listen to his word. And I'm really, listening to also Alder Caprillion of everything that she did, she talked about and all the points. But I would make a motion to approve this license for Mr. Booker on the word that he said he's gonna make a change down there on Douglas.
Okay.
we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion?
Yeah, Chairman Cole, again, Alder Perez might want to jump in. He haven't had an opportunity tonight. I'll give the floor to him in case he wants to say anything.
Okay. Anything, Alder Perez?
Sure. I totally understand Alder Caprilion's point, and we really need to improve the status of our businesses, especially of our bars in the community. And it sounds like a very solid commitment coming from this gentleman here to improve and make this a place that is actually welcoming and not a nuisance to the community. I think anytime we can have that type of benefit, it benefits the whole community itself. So that's the reason I seconded Alder Horton's recommendation, because I think we need to understand that the things in the past can definitely change for the future. We also have the responsibility and the wherewithal within our committee to call them back in if we need to and revoke this. So I think giving them a second opportunity to redeem this place is not only economically feasible for our community, but will also provide an outlet for some members of our community as well. So that's the reason I'm moving forward and voting yes on this.
Anybody else?
This is Alder Caprillion.
Go ahead.
I would say in regards to the solid commitment, I will just say we hear it every single time. There's zero exceptions to that for everyone who comes before public safety and licensing. They say the same thing. I don't know Mr. Booker, and I would love to trust his word. What I'm going off is history. So history speaks right now to me in my decision-making process. We do know that there are measures in place to call him back before us, but just like last time in the interim, there's a lot of damage done to the community. It is our responsibility, no one else's, to oversee these liquor establishments and provide the benefit to our community. So we have a role just like the applicants that come before us. And so I just believe by looking at past history, things like that, because that's the one thing that is one tool that we have to use, and how they work within state statutes. statute and within any policies and procedures that we set in place. So I think using those tools, I will not be in support of this motion.
Okay, Sergeant Ortiz, please.
Yeah, I joined the meeting a little bit late. Needless to say, we've got quite a bit of things going on in the city right now that kind of tied me up for a little bit. I didn't get to hear Reggie's complete explanation for his responsibility in some of the issues that we dealt with. I bring a unique perspective because before I got this position in the Detective Bureau, I was a third shift sergeant and I was in charge of the south side, but I worked hand in hand with a couple of sergeants that worked the north side. I know that they went in there several times over probably a four to 5 month period and tried to work with Reggie and Crystal and the employees that were working there. It just seemed like we never got anywhere. We did do the nuisance property in June, but then they closed, so we didn't get to really see if things were going to work out or not. But my big question is, I hear what Reggie's saying, and I would love to be able to take him on his word, but we tried for months and months to get him to be a part of the solution over there on Douglas, and it just seemed like we couldn't get anywhere. So I'm a little concerned that we're gonna start out on a good foot, and then we're gonna kind of get to the same point that we were earlier this year.
Reggie, you got anything to add?
I don't remember talking to any law enforcement, even though I'm not minimizing my part in this, but any way that we can work with the Racine Police Department. That's why I also went and filled out the application 6 months ago. And also I hired new security, but any way, fashion, form, if I can work with them, I'm willing to work with them. I have allowed them to come in and look at cameras, whatever. If I was there, it was running correctly. And I allowed them to come and look in the cameras if they wanted to come in there. Every time I was there, I allowed them to do this, but I don't know anything about what he just said. That's why I'm taking full control and full responsibility for the bar. I'm not gonna have anyone responsible for certain issues. I'm gonna be present on the premises. I'm not gonna leave that in the hands of someone else.
All right, Sergeant Ortiz, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
All right, so he's made some commitments about not having DJs and music. Is to your recollection, did most of the problems happen when some sort of event was going on up there?
I would say it's both. There were some nights that we know for sure there was some DJs playing, and we had.
Miss, could you find my phone for me?
And we had a big crowd, but then there was times where I know there wasn't a specific DJ or an event going on, and we still had similar issues.
All right, then. Thank you much. No, your hand is up.
Yes, Alder Cole. I just wanted to add something because you had asked about other businesses that Mr. Booker owned. And there was a statement that was made that he did not have any issues at any of those businesses, and that's actually incorrect. I was informed by the health department that they received a lot of complaints for Fresh Off the Hook at 1644 Washington Avenue. That was not before Mr. Booker. That was actually in May of 2021 when he was in charge of it. Marsha Fernholtz did deal directly with Mr. Booker. She stated that they received numerous complaints with respect to illegal dumping of garbage and that there was grease all over the sidewalk. She stated that Mr. Booker did eventually comply with the health department orders, but that he was very slow to do so, causing the health department to go out there to re-inspect at least 7 different times, which is why he was charged so many re-inspection fees. So I just wanted to add that. I wanted to make sure that the committee received the correct information.
Okay. Well, I guess I didn't know about that, but I think I was more looking towards police calls and stuff like that, but I understand what you're saying, no. And Reggie, what do you got to say? I mean, if this thing passes, I mean, you're gonna have to really prove something to us.
Yes, I had it cleaned up. Actually, the restaurants before we got it, they had a lot of grease, like old grease by the back door. I didn't even know exactly what she was talking about. That's why I was looking around in the restaurant. I didn't know she was talking about in the back of the restaurant. So I had one of the employees clean all this old grease that was on the concrete in the back of the building. That's why it took a little time. But the illegal dumping, I'm unaware of that. I don't know anything about the illegal dumping.
Okay, and no, when was the last time this thing came from the health department?
That was in May of 2021. So in May of this year.
All right, so any other questions from any of the committee members? All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Henry?
Aye.
Okay. We have any no's?
No,
All right, we have, any other questions from any other committee members? All right, this passes, it goes to committee next week, Tuesday.
point of order. Can you tell me what the count was? The vote.
Well, 2-1.
Okay, Alder Peterson is here as well.
Yeah,
Abstain. Abstain. I came in late into the conversation. I did not want to voice an opinion without getting all the information. I apologize for being late.
Oh, no, that's okay. Thank you. All right, so it goes to council next week and we'll move forward from there. Thank you, Reggie.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you, guys.
Next item of business, 0610021, communication submitting an application for Class B and Class C fermented malt beverage and wine license for Pair of Aces Sports Bar and Grill LLC, doing business as Pair of Aces Sports Bar and Grill located at 1743 State Street, Krister Zahler, agent, 8th District. We got Crystal up.
I'm not Crystal. You're asking me to speak. I'm not Crystal.
No, I'm asking we're looking for Crystal.
We clicked the wrong button. I apologize. Give us 1 second. So. Who's that push? You clicked Michelle. Oh, Michelle. Okay, so now allow. Oh, my bad. What the hell?
Hello.
All right, Crystal. No, can we swear the applicant in, please?
Sure, I can swear her in, Alder Cole, but I won't read the rest of the speech because we did that last week or the last
Okay.
time unless we
Right.
Okay. Crystal, if you could raise your right hand, please.
Yes, I have it
Do
up.
you- Thank you. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
All right, so we're back at this again, once again, Crystal. I know what you want to do there. And my biggest hangup with this thing is the lack of parking over there. For years, this committee, they would check on parking. And if there wasn't enough parking, they wouldn't grant a license. And this place got granted a license before because it was a restaurant and there wasn't as many people going in at that time. And tell you the truth, I don't even know if they were ever open that often. But the thing being is there's 15 cars that fit in that lot. There is really absolutely no off-street parking around there. And that leaves me a huge concern. So I'll ask if any of the other committee members have any questions.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Alder
When
Peterson.
Crystal, when you spoke at the Common Council meeting, you referenced closing on weekends at midnight, but your application still states closing at, I think it was 1:30.
Yeah, that was the old application. We
All
wanted
right,
to one, we're closing at 12 o'clock on Fridays and Saturdays.
okay, I have the old application. Maybe I looked at the one application I have.
We were turning one in for the, yeah, that's the old one that we had before, prior to knowing that any of the issues that was going on at GRC. With all the issues that happens late hours, my partner and I decided that we wanted to close early on Fridays and Saturdays and only stay open during the week till 1 o'clock, but close on the weekends at 12. So, I mean, if we have to put that in writing, I'll put that in writing. There's no problem, because we don't want to stay open late anyways.
Yeah, I mean, if it's on the application I see in front of me, that makes it legal, and I need to see, so I need to see that you're gonna be shutting down at midnight, because it still is a neighborhood where most of the cars are gonna be parked.
Right. Well, I can bring in a new one tomorrow if that's possible, because we're not staying open late anyways.
Right. Attorney New, could you speak to that, please? I mean, can we approve with condition of change, or she need to change that ahead of time in writing?
You can actually do that with a conditional approval. So if you just approve the application with the amended hours of closing on 1 o'clock on Friday and Saturday, that will be made part of the application. It just has to be made in a motion that way.
Okay, I believe she said 12 o'clock on Friday and Saturday, 1 o'clock during the week.
Yes.
Yes.
There you go.
Any other questions from any other committee members?
Alder Caprillion.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I am sorry, committee members, to be repetitive here, but I just think for the state of this, and being that Alder Peterson jumped in a little bit late, but we had Crystal as the agent of GRC, and I would like to refresh you on a few things. What is the definition of agent? I'm going to read that, and then the issues that came up during her time as being the agent of GRC. An agent is the person in whom a company or corporation vests full authority and control of the premise and of the conduct of all business on the premise related to alcohol beverages. And we had on February 27th of 2021, there was no bar license on display as it's required to be so. On March 13th, the bartender that was working did not have a license to do so. And by that time, still there was no license on display as they were told to do. Then on March 26th, there was such a large crowd that they were filling up the yards and also blocking the streets. And again, the bartenders did not have a license, and also who they referenced was working too. They checked, they too did not have a valid bartending license. And then there was a tavern check just a few days later. There was no bartenders working at the time. There was only a DJ there, but then said it was a private party. However, the bar was open for business and the doors were not locked, and there was somebody behind the bar who did not have a liquor license but said they were not serving alcohol. Then on April 10th, there was another tavern check. There was 90 people that were in the establishment, which was against restrictions at that time because of COVID. Then on May 2nd, all squads were called to the area. No squads were available for any other calls in the city for over an hour and a half as they tried to clear the area. There was loitering and there was no willingness to move out of the area. They were refusing police command. Then on May 9th, the same thing occurred, but 9 officers were called to the area and it took 45 minutes to clear. This is all while under Crystal as being the agent of GRC. And so with that, I stand by what I said about wanting to open up this other establishment. We often don't get to see how business is going to be conducted. I think we have a history of how business is going to be conducted under Crystal as the agent of this establishment. I know last time she said that she had a silent partner. However, I read to you what it does state, what the agent's responsibility is, and it is against state statute to be able to put somebody else then in charge. We have a process in place for a change of agent, which that process never did come before us as the city. So if we are going to ignore that, why do we even have this process in place if we're just going to disregard state statute? I do respect that somebody wants to invest in our community and do a business. However, I think with this practice or what was already shown to us, I think we'd be very irresponsible to not only the neighborhood, but also to the police department who had to deal with these issues prior. Thank you.
I mean, no, I'm looking at the, well, it's attached to the Good Neighbors report, and it's about the lack of parking. But there's some misinformation in there where it says this has been an open operating bar 2 times before us. It was really a restaurant. Yes, they served alcohol, but you didn't have the volume of people. And like I said, this place will fit approximately 80 people there, and there is just absolutely no parking, and I don't know how anyone's going to be able to handle stuff like that. So any other questions from any of the committee members? Any questions? All right, I guess I would entertain a motion.
Move to deny.
Do we have a second? If we don't have a second, I will second that. And my reason for denial is basically based on parking over there. So we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on the motion? All right. Seeing no anything from the city attorneys or police department at all? All right, we have a motion and a second to deny. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
No,
No,
Nope.
All right, then I guess it would be, do I have to ask for a new approval on this, or new or no?
What do you mean, Alder Cole?
The motion to deny has failed. So do I have to ask for another motion?
Right, because if you don't have a motion, we can't move on the item unless you want to send it to council without action again.
We have people that voted on it. My question being that the vote was 3-2, could we, I would like to send this one to council just because of the, I think the
I'm sorry.
problem-
it has
I'm
been
sorry,
a
I
motion to approve.
And I don't think I can do that. That's why I was asking.
I'll
I
make a motion
misunderstood
to
your
approve
question,
with
Alder.
amended hours.
All right, we have a motion. We have a motion.
Point of order. Chairman.
Okay,
Just the attorney was trying to speed. I just wanted to hear what her clarification was.
okay,
please.
go ahead, Nu.
I'm sorry, Alder Cole. I misunderstood your question.
Okay.
Because it was, even if the motion fails, the matter still goes to the common council. Usually if a matter doesn't pass the committee level, it doesn't go to council, but there is a special exception for alcohol licenses. So regardless of what the vote is today, the matter still goes to council.
Okay, but when my question was, do I have to have a new motion on this or no?
No, if the motion has passed, then you could just leave it like that and have it go to council.
But the motion to deny didn't pass. That's what I was getting at.
I thought there was 3-2 with the motion to deny. Is that correct?
No.
Sorry, I miscounting here.
All right, how many, so we have three
Could,
yeses.
could I call for a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Go ahead.
Good.
Alderman Peterson?
Alder Cole,
Okay, no,
you want us to do it for you?
yeah, you do that, so.
Okay.
so
Can you read the motion again, please?
Yes,
All right, so we have a motion to deny,
okay,
and we're gonna do a roll call on that one, correct?
yep, yes.
Okay, so, Alder Cole?
Aye,
Aye. Alder Horton?
No.
Alder Peterson?
No,
Alder Caprillion?
Aye.
And Alder Perez.
No.
So it's 3 noes, 2 ayes.
Right, so because the motion failed, you do have to make another motion, probably in the affirmative this time.
okay. So can I get a motion?
a motion to approve with amended hours being 1 o'clock on weeknights and midnight on weekends, Friday, Saturday.
We have a second? All right, we have a motion, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Opposed.
All right, motion passes. Good luck, Crystal.
Thank
It goes
you.
to it goes to council next week, and then it'll, once you pass all your inspections and everything, then you'll get the license granted to you. All
Thank you. I'll make sure I drop off the paperwork tomorrow with the amended hours.
right, thank you.
I really appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.
Next item of business. Hold on here. All right, item 062821, communication submitting an application for a Class B retail fermented malt beverage and intoxicating liquor license for CBI Everseen Inc., doing business as Tropical Paradise located at 1641 Douglas Avenue, Dorothy Lee agent. Will we swear the applicant in again, New?
Yes, Michelle, if you could raise your right hand, please. Michelle?
It's right.
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, so Al, let's tell us what you're gonna be doing again here. Refresh everyone's memory.
Opening up a bar. Yep.
Okay, and what kind of experience do you have?
Well, we had the previous Tropical when it was at 1600 Douglas Avenue.
Okay, and last meeting, I guess, no, could you refresh the committee on the Good Neighbors report of the different stuff that was going on over there?
Yes, so at the time of the Good Neighbors report, we did not receive information at that time that there was a nuisance property and the correction was made. So the committee should have received an amended report, which was sent out the day of the Common Council. But we do have Sergeant Ortiz here from the police department who can tell you about the numbers of calls at that premises.
Sergeant Ortiz?
What is the exact address of the old Tropical?
I'm trying to see here.
1600 Douglas Avenue.
Sergeant Ortiz, I do have, I'm sorry, I know you were out on vacation for a week there, and it was Hans Friedel who emailed me that information. So I do have that if you'd like me to send that to you. I apologize.
Yeah, could you send me that right quick?
I know last time we had Lieutenant Webb chiming in because they didn't have all the information on this. And I think some of my
when did Michelle, when were you in operation over there?
From 2015? Well, 2016, I'm sorry.
They closed in
2016
June
to
of
2019.
2020. So
No, it was not. No, we closed in November of 2019.
It says here on the report, it closed in 2020. In June.
No, our last day was November 2nd of 2021. I'm sorry, of 2019.
Alder Coe, if you'll recall, this item came before the committee during the renewal period, at which time the committee found out that it was closed, but we never received an exact date because no one informed the committee up until renewal time. It was just discovered, and that's when they were called in. So we don't have the exact date, and that's why it's on there like that.
Okay, I apologize. And the reason why the business was shut is somebody else bought the building.
Yes.
So from September of 2017 until October of 2019, we have 8 licensed premise entries. But we also, during December of 2019, or strike that, January of 2016 until December of 2019, we have, I'd say, well over 20 calls to that address, ranging from fights to tavern checks to attempted homicide, a man with gun, parking violations, assaults, and civil troubles, loud music. So again, from 2016 until 2019, I mean, if I just do a quick math, it's well over 20 calls to that address.
And wasn't a couple of those calls refused to let police officers enter the premises?
There was a couple times that we did come out there and we couldn't get in the bar, or there was a note that people were inside, and we knew they were inside because we could either hear people or we saw cars, and we didn't gain entry.
All right, thank you. All right, any questions from any of the committee members?
Alder Caprillion.
Go ahead.
I'm going to stand by my decision before of a denial. Again, like I stated with the last applicants, we are getting an opportunity to glimpse into how business is conducted under their leadership, and to go ahead and grant something, to grant this privilege to somebody who has shown in the past to put stress on our resources and non-compliant with the people who we call to do service to help keep the neighborhood and the area safe. And when you look in state statute, which is on there, there's an agreement where it says that it must act in cooperation with law enforcement to enforce the alcohol beverage laws and assist with minimizing disturbances of the peace and maintaining the safety of the community. And they're also to use good judgment in decision making. So when you're denying access by the only resource we have the time when there is trouble to come into the establishment to direct it, I think that speaks very loudly. I will be denying this again.
Any other members that wish to speak on the item?
Alder Cole,
Yep.
Chairman Cole.
Yes,
Yep. Is this a new location? This is not the same location, right?
no,
This is a new location, right? Down the street from where it used to be, right?
correct.
Okay. Yeah. And I know before they had this place before and they had it over on Martin Luther King Drive. I did check in and talk about, the access to the police. I was told that, anytime the police wanted to see the cameras, that they would let them see the cameras. And there was an incident out there. I guess the one of the workers talked to the police officers. And I understand Alder Caprillion totally. She's reading off, she's reading off the law, she's reading off the ordinance and the safety. And there's also a restaurant across the street too. And I don't know how much involvement that in that corner in general, there's usually a lot going on at that corner. And I don't know how much of it is the bar. I don't know how much is the restaurant. And I do not know how much is the gas station. So, but I'm not at liberty to make that call on that. But I would say that I would speak in favor of them getting their license, them moving on. The guy that bought the building has about 4 or 5 other businesses here. And he's been actually sworn into Racine probably for the last 7, 8 years.
I'm going to ask the applicant, what are your hours going to be? Do you guys plan on having DJs and stuff like that in this establishment? Because I know some of that seemed to be a problem before. So I was just asking what your whole plan is.
So we won't have a DJ. We'll just play old school music. The hours are until 2 o'clock. 1:30, I'm sorry, we'll do 1:30. But it's not gonna be that same crowd as it was before. And we have more security, more cameras, in a different location. And we'll cooperate with the police in any way that we can.
I do know when you were on Martin Luther King, I went in there a few times and never was a problem, but the short time you were on Douglas, it was kind of really a lot of hell. I mean, if this passes, would you be willing to put in writing you're not having a DJ and put your amended hours that you're closing at 1:30?
Yes.
All right, before it would pass. So, all right. So any other questions from any other committee members? All right, with that, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to deny.
We have a motion to deny. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion to deny and a second. Any question or anyone want to speak to the motion before we pass?
Alder Caprillion.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I just want to remind the committee that we hear oftentimes on new applicants and also opening, just like we heard with the other one, that they always have the best intentions and best practices in order. And they are not going to say they're not going to cooperate with the police. And all we do have now in this case is we have some record that's shown that there wasn't cooperation with the police. I think we have a huge responsibility here. It's a hard decision because we don't ever want to deny somebody an opportunity to do business in our community. And we want that growth and we want success. But we also, on the flip side, have a responsibility that we are thinking about public safety. We're thinking about how we are supporting the police department and what they're doing and how we are also showing the neighborhood that we care. So I would really urge you to deny this application because of the history that has been presented before us. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second to deny. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
No.
The chair votes aye for denial. So this goes to council that way. So sorry about that for the applicants, but we're trying to do something to be safe here, so. All right, moving on. Thank you, everybody. So moving on, we have item 0612-21, communication requesting the appearance of Samantha Rush for an operator's license. Is Samantha Rush on?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Lou, could you swear the applicant in?
Yes, Alder Cole. I'm just getting to that page here. If you can just give me a minute. If you could raise your right hand, please.
Okay.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. You are here today because you either provided a false statement on your license application or you have been convicted of at least one offense which disqualifies you for a license. As a result, you are generally disqualified from obtaining an operator's license unless you can demonstrate to the committee that you have been rehabilitated and that there was good cause for the false statement. We will start with the police department's background check, and then you will have an opportunity to address the committee. Go ahead, Sergeant Ortiz.
Unfortunately, I don't have Miss Rush's. I don't know if Sergeant Webb was given this, but I don't have her packet.
No, can I ask a question? Samantha Rush, she had come to us at the last meeting, am I correct?
I believe she was.
And we asked her to talk, she had to bring some sort of letter from her employer, I believe it was, and I'm wondering if she did bring something in to you guys, because we asked her if her employee knew about this, and she was supposed to get something from them.
I did not receive anything.
Point of order, it's actually in our packet.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry, then I missed it. I apologize.
It is by a Tim Kotzman, the store sales leader for Open Pantry. And if you wouldn't mind, if for those who haven't, I could go ahead and read that.
Please do.
All right, to whom it may concern, Samantha Rush has been part of my staff since September 2017. She has always been a hard worker. She shows up to work when scheduled and is great with our customers. I value her as an asset to our company. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on her behalf. And then again, signed Tim Kotzman, store sale leader, Open Pantry, 9570.
Yep, I just didn't turn far enough pages. And Ms. Rush, you actually need this in order to be able to work at the counter and sell beer and stuff. Am I correct?
Yes, because I work alone, so I close the store by myself.
All right, so any questions from any of the committee members?
No, motion to approve.
We have a
Being
motion.
that he had done what we asked her to bring in the letter. It seems to be a letter of recommendation from her employer. And I remember vaguely the history. It was a single drug issue a number of years ago, if I remember correctly. No? I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
It was
Alderman Capone.
2021.
All right. Thank you for the correction. But we asked her at the last meeting to bring in the letter. It appears to be a positive letter from her employer. Therefore, I'm making a motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion before I take a vote?
Discussion,
Okay.
but I will yield if the maker of the motion wanted to speak. If not, I would.
No, go ahead.
Okay, very good. Thank you again, Samantha, as I said, spoke last time on this item, is that I know sometimes facing the things that we have made bad choices, it's sometimes very difficult. We do have this process that is in place to help us in our role as we move forward. And it's a very clear question on the application. And so we have this hoping for truthfulness, and it's sworn, there is an oath that it is sworn that everything is truthful and you do not proceed that way. Again, it's hard sometimes to face those things that we've made bad decisions for. I can say I do appreciate you going forward, asking your manager or boss to go ahead and write on your behalf. That holds a lot of value, and I hope you understand facing those things, helps you move forward. This probably is a process that's frustrating, embarrassing, or, fill in the blank, whatever that may be to you. And we don't like to cast judgment. And unfortunately, this process does, and especially if you were just truthful in the process, this wouldn't have come before us, or at least to this extent of questioning and having to come before us a second time. But I think Tim's recommendation holds a lot of weight for me, and I hope you can move forward and just be true to who you are. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? None. All right, good luck, Ms. Rush.
Thank you for your time.
Next item of business, 61421, communication requesting the appearance of Ricky Daniel for an operator's license, working in the 14th district. Recommendation of the committee was that, it was deferred. And what was the reason it was deferred? Because he didn't show up, am I correct?
Correct.
All right, is Mr. Daniels here tonight?
He is not. We have not heard from him.
All right, I guess I would entertain a motion to deny this item since he hasn't felt the need to get back to us.
Motion to
Deny.
Deny.
We have a motion and a second. It sounds like all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, opposed? All right, moving on. 072621, communication requesting the appearance of Eugene Sills for an operator's license working in the 1st district. We have Mr. Sills on the line,
We do not. We have not heard from him.
and this is his first time.
Yes.
All right, well, I guess I would entertain a motion to defer this item since it's the first time.
Motion to defer.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Yep, we have a motion and a second. All those in
Second.
favor say aye.
Aye.
All those, all right, opposed?
Aye.
All right, moving on. Okay. Next item of business, 072721, communication requesting the appearance of Dominique Monroe for an operator's license working in the 14th district.
We do not have Dominique on the line as well.
All right, I would ask for the same motion.
Move to defer.
Do we have a second? Do we have a
Second.
second? All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on, 072821, communication requesting the appearance of Ryan Cavelli for an operator's license. Do we have?
We do
Mr.
not have
Cavelli?
Ryan. We do not. Sorry.
All right, and this is his first time also?
Yes.
All right, I guess I would ask for that same motion.
Move to defer.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, next item, 0325-21, communication submitting an application for a Class B retail fermented malt beverage, an intoxicating liquor license for Milwaukee Banquet LLC, doing business as LL's East Corner Pub and Dining located at 3701 Durand Avenue, Unit 200, Michael Dock, agent. Recommendation last time was defer. I'm going to have the city clerk speak to this item.
After we had our last meeting with Milwaukee Banquet on 5/12, I believe. We had not heard from them again until 9/2, I believe it was 9/2, that they had given us a call and we had explained to him again exactly what he needed. And then we ended up hearing from his contracted architect that he was having, called us on Friday asking what was going on as well, because he had not heard from them either. So we have not received any updated plans from them or anything.
So what I'm asking for is to deny this item since he hasn't gotten, if they want to come back, they can, but I'm asking to deny this since they didn't feel the need to get back to us.
Could it be a motion to receive and file?
No. No, could you speak to that, please?
Sure. So because there is an application in front of the committee, it does require either a vote to deny or approve the license. It can't just be received and filed. There must be an action that's taken. But just so you are aware, if you do deny the license, the person is prevented from applying for another license for at least 12 months.
So I would entertain a motion.
Move for denial.
We have a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to deny. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The application is denied. Moving on, 075021, communication on behalf of the City of Racine Police Department Liaison of the Public Safety and Licensing Committee, requesting a consideration of the license premise report for 9/13/2021 and any formal expression of concern pursuant to it. All right. So I guess I'm going to ask for Sergeant Ortiz. Does anything jump out at you on this thing at all?
I would, I guess, talk about Duo. Duo is the new bar that's where Ray's Boom Boom Room used to be. There's on this report, just for the month, I believe we have three calls.
Yeah, we have Sunday, August 15th, tavern check, and it's at that time unknown results at the time. I believe same date, traffic hazard. A driver that was passing by the area was concerned someone might get hit by a car. There was 40 to 50 people outside of the bar in the middle of the street. The caller was concerned someone might get hit. A total of 5 police squads were utilized to disperse the crowd. The officer noted several alcohol bottles and trash left on the sidewalks. Officers did go inside the bar and reported smelling marijuana inside. Several cars were towed away from the area for parking violation. Then the next one, it was the same day, it was an unwanted party. Now, these people just got their license granted. They paid $10,000 for the license, and it was going to be a nice laid-back bar, and I haven't heard a lot of good stuff about it. So I'm going to ask Snu, what are our options, being that this is the first time we're on the report? Can we call them in to speak to our concerns?
Yes, so if the committee wanted to call the licensee in, you would issue a formal expression of concern, call them in, it would be a first strike. And again, if you do that twice in a 6-month period, they automatically go to the process.
So any questions from any of the committee members?
Yes.
Yes, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Jeff, and then
In
Melissa.
regards to the call on August 29th, officers conducted tavern check, there were people still inside and were cleared out. Were they given a ticket at the time? If not, and is that just something that's subjective?
And you're speaking about for Duo?
Yes, sir. August 29th. Says there are people still inside the bar and they were cleared out. Call received at 2:24 a.m.
It's not subjective. If there were people after, in the bar after, they should have got cited. However, again, I guess I don't know who all was out there, if there was a sergeant on scene that made the call or not. And then also it's something that we have to keep in consideration with the amount of calls that we're getting in per night at that time, with the limited resources that we have. If we have other calls that are either holding or coming in, that kind of drops to the bottom of our concern at that point. So those are just some things that come to my mind. I don't know why they weren't given that citation on that day, though.
Thank you very much.
All right. Any other questions from any of the committee members?
Alder Caprillion.
Go ahead.
Please correct me if I'm wrong. This is one that there was a concern because that area, that establishment, not that one per se, but that location had caused a lot of distress to that area. This applicant had stated that he was, I think, moved to Milwaukee, but he's back, or that he wanted to invest in the area. First, he didn't claim of any problems in the area, and we refreshed him on the things going on, and he says he is looking to establish like an upfront bar that is conducts business as all the other applicants come before us with good intentions. And now this is exactly what I stated every single time when I have been voting for denial, is that there's a history in those areas, there's stress, and us as a committee are now approving it. We are now causing stress on our police department, those resources, and this neighborhood once again, who was trying to heal. I absolutely am in favor of bringing Duo Bar back, or bringing them before us. They were just before us, just so you know, for approval. This is brand new. This is how he is starting off out the gate on running this establishment.
And any other questions from any of the members? Well, on this item, then I would entertain a motion.
Would the motion be, we have to make a motion to bring the bar before us?
Yeah, for concern.
Okay, I will make that motion to bring Duo Bar before us for concerns.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right. All right, so we have it's good to go. They're coming into our next meeting. I got a question to ask Sergeant Ortiz. I've been getting a lot of calls, and I don't know if any tickets are being given out. 509 6th Street is on here quite often for different things. I mean, and it sounds like we always have to, for better lack of a word, babysit the bar. We're tying up our police resources to get people to move along that just won't move along. And I'm wondering if you can add anything to this, because I would want to know, I'll ask New if I can call them in because of this problem for a formal expression of concern.
With 509 itself, let's just first deal with the actual bar part of it. We don't have a lot of issues with the bar itself. We do have off-duty racing police officers that work there. There's a couple calls on this report that you can see that if there's an issue with the bar, those officers are handling it right away. There's been arrests that have been made, and there's been tickets that have been issued from those calls. When you go away from the bar, and we know that obviously it's still somewhat of the bar's responsibility. However, again, I bring a little unique perspective with this because just coming off a third shift, there's several bars in the area on 6th Street, on Wisconsin, on 7th Street that kind of all end up letting out at similar or the same times. we do have crowds that end up going on the sidewalks. We have crowds that go on the street corners, and we have crowds that go into the municipal parking lot over on College and Water. Again, at least I would rely a lot on off-duty officers. They did a great job working with those crowds, getting them out. So we weren't taxed on that. Now, if there's issues that they need our help, we definitely would go down there and help them. All the off-duty officers that work at 509, they are in marked police squads. So we usually have 2 to 3 marked police squads there. So they can do not just security at the physical location, they can do the neighborhood circling, for lack of better words, of those properties and make sure that they're moving people along.
Yeah, well, what's going on is I'm getting calls from all the neighbors. I mean, these people have the right to be able to sleep, and we can't get people to move along. And on the municipal parking lot, don't we have something in place, Sergeant Ortiz, that we gave you guys permission to close that lot down on like at midnight? So cars would be able to get out, but people wouldn't be able to go in that.
We can close parking lots down whenever we would need to, if we deem it that it's a problem. We can block exits and entrance off if we want to close that down. Again,
Yeah, well,
I would pose 509 as one of our least issues in the city compared to like a Duo or a Ray's Boom Boom Room or a GRC, who we just allowed Mr. Booker to again get possibly a license for his place. When you look at 509 was the least of our issues, and the crowds at bar time would probably be out there for, I'd say, anywhere between 20 to 40 minutes, and they'd move along. Now that compared to, again, the other bars I mentioned were way of a contrast on as far as the problems that we had, the assistance with the bar itself, the assistance with security, and the bar security, and any type of personal private security. We again at 509, we do have the issue of people on the sidewalks, on the corners, but again, in my personal opinion, when I was out there, it wasn't for an extended period of time, and it didn't get to the level of the other bars that I just mentioned that we are allowing them to still operate.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that one night when I was down there was 2 officers on duty down there, and there was probably 75 people sitting on that side of the street. It wasn't a First Friday or anything, but people were openly drinking out there. They were smoking marijuana out there, and I didn't see anything on any type of reports for that. And this is the kind of calls I'm getting from people. I got video that shows so much stuff going on over there, so I have a lot of concerns. So that's why I was asking Newell if it's outside, is that not directly pertaining to the bar or no?
No, there is something in the ordinance that states that a licensee is responsible for the patrons, especially when those patrons are in the street or blocking traffic. So that's certainly something that the committee has the discretion to call a licensee in for. And as you know, you have the option to rescind formal expression concerns if it comes to that.
Well, then I would like to make a motion to call them in as a formal expression of concern, if nothing else, to try to see if we can't get something a little bit better going on over there. So I'm going to make that motion. Looking for a second.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion?
I have
Yes,
discussion.
I have a, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Would it be possible to have any of the off-duty officers get the input from any of the off-duty officers that work there as to how much of this overflow crowd is from that bar, and how much of that overflow crowd is a result of that bar, or if there's like an overlapping? as the sergeant stated.
I don't know how we would verify that. Like I said, there's several bars in the area, so I don't know exactly.
Well, I didn't know if the off-duty officers had any input on that. That's all. I take your input fairly serious. If you got 2 off-duty officers that say the bar is not a problem, I'd like to hear that. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they would have input. They work there every weekend. I've worked with them when I was on third shift. Again, we had a system put in place that they would handle any outflow from the bar. They would move it along in a timely manner. If they needed extra resources, they either call me personally or call into dispatch to have a couple squads assist them. So for the most part, they were able to handle those issues themselves. There were occasions when they did need other resources to help move it along. But again, it's a bar that's going to be letting out, and 20 minutes for people to move around, to me, like I said, is kind of acceptable especially when I'm looking at some of the other bars and other issues that we're dealing with.
Thank you very much.
All right, and like I said, I get videos and stuff from the people that live upstairs that gotta live this every week. So, Sergeant Ortiz,
One thing I would like to say, I was sent something, and I don't know exact. I think it was maybe from the mayor's office, from someone that lived above 509. I don't know exactly what.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Okay, I did follow up on that personally, probably about, I don't even know, maybe a half a year to a year ago. And I made several attempts to contact him to resolve this, and he never responded back to me. He never called me. He never called the police department. So again, when we're trying to make contact with him to get those pictures that you're referring to or additional help, and I can't get that help, it kind of ties our hands.
All right, he's not the only one, but that one, yeah, he's just a little bit difficult to deal with. But I have other people, and I'll get the information. But I mean, if we could check with the police department, because they actually came to us and asked us to change where they were going to block off that parking lot. I think at midnight, that people that were in there were allowed to stay in there, but that we were blocking at midnight, off at midnight, so no additional cars would go in there, because that's where the problem is. People are parking over there, and then they're coming out and becoming part of this problem. I mean, I don't know who you can check with at the police department, because I know we changed something at our committee level that we'd be able to do that. So I don't know if Sergeant Ortiz, if you could check on that. So we have a motion and a second to bring them in for. Go ahead.
I apologize. I was waiting for.
Go ahead, Melissa.
Thank you so much. So I definitely respect you as the alder in the area, having an opportunity to bring your constituents' concern before this committee. I don't see on this report of anything that stands out to me where I personally would bring them in, but I lean on what you have to deal with as the alder in the area. And with that even being said, I think it would even be a good practice that just a check-in, not so much as something that it's concern. I don't see a concern. You may hear concerns I don't see from the report, but having a good friendly check-in just to establish that partnership. So I will support that for that reason.
And we also can rescind a formal expression of concern after we meet. So I just want them to know that the people in the district that are trying to sleep at night can't. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed?
No.
No. All right. Anyone else? All right. The ayes have it. With that exhausts our agenda. So I'm looking for a motion.
I do have some questions yet for Sergeant Ortiz.
I'm sorry.
I know we all want to go. If you won't mind.
Go ahead.
Okay, just for clarification, because I don't understand, they're just on your report for the sergeant. I think it's written in police code, I think maybe, but could you help me with, it says, I'm just gonna read a line and I'll give you further context if needed. Police were already on the scene due to a 21-32-690. What is a 21-32-690?
What date are you looking at?
I am looking at Duo Bar and Grill, and this is for date August 15th, 2021.
Oh, that's another incident. So that's our complaint number. So
Oh, okay. Thank
so
you for that.
yeah, we were already on scene. So that was a different incident, and then
Gotcha.
they end up calling in another one.
Understood. Okay, thank you. And then also it's mentioned that there was a tavern check and unknown results at this time. So did results actually come in later?
They have not, so I can check to see. I think that might have been initiated by a third shift sergeant. So I can definitely follow up and see exactly what happened with that one.
Perfect. If we could, just if we're going to have them come before us, if we could just have that piece filled, that'd be fantastic. Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
All right, any other questions from the committee? All right, with that, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
We have a
Alder
second?
Cole,
Yes?
I need a motion to receive and file the actual item, please.
Oh, all right.
I move to receive and file the police packet.
We have a
Second.
motion, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
I
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Now I'm looking for the motion to receive or to adjourn.
move to adjourn.
We got a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
I
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
good night.
Good night. Thank you.